Hi, it's the Jan Johnson, and thanks so much for stopping back. Today what I want to talk to you about is the law of attraction. But first of all, what I'm going to do is share with you a book that I'm reading that I think is important for anybody right now to read, and that's called The 4-Hour Workweek. It's by Timothy Ferriss, and the subtitle of this book is Escape the 9 to 5, Live Anywhere, and Join the New Rich. This book is loaded with information. There's an associated blog with it called the 4-Hour Blog, and within that there are detailed information about people that you can call, about websites that you can visit, about keys to effectiveness and efficiency. I love this book. It's helpful to anyone. And so I'm reading this book right now, and I've shared it with several people that I consult with, and people that are my clients, and told them that they've got to get this book. It's kind of like a workbook for them. So how does the law of attraction fit into this? The law of attraction fits in because of the fact that a week ago today, I actually flew to Florida from Colorado to help my niece who was having foot surgery. I was really kind of apprehensive about this whole trip because it was in the middle of me trying to pull a lot of things together for work, and I knew I was going to be out of sorts, and I knew how hard it was going to be for her, and that was upsetting me, that I was going to be working with her and her foot situation. And so therefore I was, going through a little bit of anxiety about this trip, if you will. And so on Sunday, the day before I left, I was at my computer all day, and at 10:30 at night I realized, oh my gosh, I have not ordered my boarding pass. I was flying on Southwest, and Southwest allows you to order your boarding pass 24 hours in advance, and they seat by the time with which you ordered your boarding pass, and they don't have assigned seating. And so therefore, if you get in there right away 24 hours in advance, you can maybe get an A boarding pass, otherwise a B or a C. And they board the A's first, and the B's first, and then the C's. And so when you enter the plane, you can pick any seat you want. Obviously, the C's are going to get the last pick and be ending up in middle seats. And so at 10:30 at night, I had not yet ordered my boarding pass. My flight left at 10:30 the next morning, so I'm 12 hours behind in ordering my boarding pass. So I quick do it. Sure enough, I have a C. And I have a little attitude in my head going on about this because I like to sit by the window. I'm particular where I sit on the plane, and I was mad at myself for not, just getting there and ordering the boarding pass and not having done that. I had to talk myself out of that attitude. I had to sit back and give myself the advice that I give to other people all the time, which says your attitude is everything, and what you put out there will come back to you. I said, geez, Jan, that's true. What you have to do is put out there that everything is going to work just as planned. It's going to be the best it possibly could be, and there's a reason why you didn't order your boarding pass at the right time today. And so as I got up the next morning, I kept this attitude in my head. And so when I sat down at the gate and I saw the A's boarding and the B's boarding, I just kept there as I was getting up to get in the C line and say, everything is just going to go as planned, as the way it's supposed to be. So when I get on the flight, I had made up my mind I was going to sit in the first middle seat that attracted me to it. And so as I walked down the aisle on the right, I saw energy coming from these two people that were at the aisle and the window. And so I asked them, is anyone sitting here? They said no, and I sat down. And when I sat down, to be honest with you, I don't really like to converse on the plane. I kind of get into my own little world. I read my book or I work on the computer. And so I sat down, and before we even took off, I decided I was going to pull out my book and start reading it. So when I did that, the gentleman that was to my left, turns out his name was Lance, he said, oh, the 4-Hour Workweek. I've been meaning to read that book. How is it? And so I started right in, very excited about it, and said, it's awesome. And he said, why? And so I shared with him all the reasons why I thought the book was great. Turned out he's an entrepreneur, he's a consultant, and so I gave him different things that would help him in that book that I thought. He then asked me what I did. I shared with him my background and what I do, for a living. And we had a great conversation. And then as we kind of eased and took off and that kind of thing, the plane took off the ground, I started to settle back in. And just as I was settling back in, he was pulling out his computer. The young lady on the right of me had been talking across the aisle to someone that she was traveling with. And she looked back and looked over and saw my book and said, I have read that book 4 times. I said, you're kidding. She said, no. I bought it for my mother. I bought it for my sister. As a matter of fact, last night on the phone, I was on the phone with my mother asking her, have you read this yet? You have to read it. So she and I then obviously, of course, engaged in all the attributes of the book. She shared with me that she has a desire to get into the design business from the standpoint of clothing and materials. She is currently in a job kind of thing. Her father is an economics professor, brilliant, beautiful young lady, and her name is Teju. So Teju and I continued on the discussion, and then pretty soon Lance joined in, and all three of us were talking, and we introduced ourselves back and forth to each other and talked about, again, the attributes of the book and about what all of us were doing. It was a phenomenal conversation. I got both of their cards. I know very much that we're going to be in touch, and as a matter of fact, if they're watching and have come to the site and are watching this video, they know that they're the ones I'm talking about. The purpose of me sharing this with you is that I had an attitude that could have gone down a negative path by something I could have beat myself up for because I did not order my boarding pass when I wanted to order it. I had to turn that negativity around and put it in a positive light. And what I got back as a result of that was coincidence. That coincidence was there because it was sharing with me, Jan, you're on the right track. You're on the right track for a number of reasons. You're on the right track because you have switched your attitude. You're on the right track because you're sitting between two people that are in the same vein as you. They're reading the same book as you. That's not just coincidence. That's a message letting me know that I am on the right path in life. And I want to tell you this so that you can understand that your attitude is everything. And if you get yourself and just turn just a switch off just a little bit and switch it around, you can change how your life flows for you. And I think that's one of the most important things that we can learn about how to interact in the world. Just to change that attitude and switch it to everything happens for a reason, and the reason that it happened is going to be beneficial to you. That's a perfect example of that. It just happened to me, and I wanted to share it with you. Hope you're having an awesome day, an awesome week. Come back. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.